So, when I was younger, one pastime that I really liked doing during the holidays was watching Charlie Brown specials on TV. While they were not the funniest things in the world, they were charming in their own right. However, at the exact same time, you often had to ask the question as to why Peanuts never got an animated movie at all. I mean, Garfield got a few movies, regardless of if they ended up getting critically panned. So, why not Peanuts? Something that people would probably often say until 2015, when the Peanuts did end up getting a movie, and was released by Blue Sky Studios of all companies. One of the most hit or miss studios of all time, whom didn't release anything notable in years until this movie was made. Like, to put into perspective, the last notable thing that they released until this movie was Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs, and that was back in 2009. So, to have this movie come out of nowhere, and to surpass everyone's expectations, was a sign that Blue Sky had potential for their future, even though that potential ended up being short-lived anyway because of Fox and Disney. But, back on point. Putting all cards on the table, the Peanuts movie is Blue Sky's best movie by a wide margin. And to really start glazing this movie, let's start off with one of this movie's best aspects, the animation. Even though Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the movie that was what popularized the trend of having an animated movie have a 2.5D look, the Peanuts movie is the film that was what basically started the trend. There were other movies before the Peanuts movie that basically did this, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania, for example, but those two movies were trying to bring the cartoony style into a 3D medium, rather than trying to also keep the 2D look alongside it. The Peanuts movie is just gorgeous. And what's even better than that is that some of those who worked on this movie would then go on to work on the animation for Fairly Odd Parents: A New Wish, which I might end up doing a Sean's Thoughts video on in the future, and that show is also absolutely beautiful. But back on point, one thing that this movie decides to do, which could have ended up leading to disastrous results, is that they retain the look from the original specials and comic strips while also bringing it into the realm of computer animation, because having the eyes be empty black holes while also showing the character at different angles would have made it look really uncanny. And believe me when I say that there was an animated movie like this. It's called Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2021. That movie, and by extension the sequels, looked incredibly uncanny and uncomfortable to look at because of the dotted eyes and how they got pumped out on a yearly basis, which is still happening to this day. What the Peanuts movie does to remedy this is that they specifically decide to show the character at one angle, like they do in the Peanuts specials, while also not sacrificing the CGI. While at the exact same time, this movie feels extremely atmospheric. During the parts of the movie where it's winter were my favorite moments personally. Other highlights include the school dance portions, and the scene where it's pretty gloomy after Charlie Brown found out that he accidentally signed his name on the wrong test. Although the animation is not the only thing in this movie that is worth praising. How this movie is as an adaptation to Peanuts is also worth admiring. Now, unlike with a lot of other animated movies that I reviewed so far in Sean's yearly reviews, I can understand the reason as to why this movie is broken up into different segments, rather than having the story be about one thing in specific. It's very difficult to adapt a franchise known for being in comic strips into a feature-length film without getting issues as a result. That was a problem that I also had with Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. It was trying to drag what was known to be a short comic strip into an entire movie, which caused the story to be a mess, and it was what presumably caused the behind-the-scenes production of that movie to have so many issues. The Peanuts movie decides to tell a few different stories over the course of its runtime, while also not losing sight of it being a movie. Also, I like the fact that unlike in the Peanuts specials, we actually get to see what the little red-haired girl actually looks like, and that they gave her a voice, which I think is best suited, because the movie is all about her moving next door to Charlie Brown, and they couldn't leave her anonymous anymore. Plus, she's not supposed to be like the adults where they communicate with wah, 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 wah. She's meant to be in the same age group as the characters that are actually shown, and you know how the title of one of the specials was called You're a Good Man and Charlie Brown. That's basically how the events of the movie goes in a nutshell. There are several sequences where Charlie Brown ends up doing a good deed for someone else to the point where it ends up paying off. He not only helps his sister with the talent show, sacrificing his chances of impressing the little red-haired girl by not going through with doing the magic act, but he also does the book report by himself and her while she was gone for the entire weekend. Also, I like that he comes clean when he accidentally wrote his name on Peppermint Patty's test, showing that even though things don't exactly go well in his favor a lot of the time, it shows that things can go right when you do nice things for others. I'm honestly really happy with the way that this movie turned out in the end. This is the point where Blue Sky was at their peak, and they had so much potential for their future if they kept their quality at this level. So, if this is how Blue Sky was like at their peak, what was the movie that they released next? Oh no.
Coming up next, it's
Planet 51.